May I please have your full and undivided attention? It is time for the Paranormal Rundown. Hello, this is Cedric Dankworth-Smythe. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all fans of the paranormal, the supernatural, the unusual, the entertaining, the terrifying, the horrifying, and those things that go bump in the night and in the daytime too. This is the one and only Paranormal Rundown, where the lads, the gang of nerds, choose from over 2,700 carefully curated paranormal topics. Tonight, the lads take the show solo, discussing the most frightening of all the Sith, Darth JarJar, the Yank editor Kazuni School of Statistics, gravitational fields, and of course, much, much more. So welcome once again to the one and only, the unique, the amazing Paranormal Rundown.
Hello, everybody. This is Vic Hermanson coming back to you with the Paranormal Rundown. This is, believe it or not, episode 47 of the Rundown, season 3, episode 2. This week, it is just the core crew. It's myself, it's Father Michael Birdsong, and Dave Ravensong. That's on my phone. His name is actually Dave Griffith. But I noticed on my phone today that I still have him on my phone as Dave Ravensong. What is that, Dave? That's your old...
It was an old EverQuest character.
An old EverQuest character. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're still...
Ravensong. I was a wood elf bard.
A wood elf bard. Well, I'd say that suits you pretty well. I would say it suits you pretty well. Let me just start this with this particular appeal. If you have listened to the Rundown more than once, you have probably decided, that's a strange little podcast. And you just might be the kind of person who could come on the Rundown and make it better. So if you would like to be on the Rundown, why don't you write to us at feedback@paranormalrundown.com. If you are particularly, here's what I really want, and I'm not even going to try to be smooth here. Father Birdsong is a priest. Dave Griffith is a very devout practicing Christian. I am a lousy Catholic. Father Birdsong is blessing me. I would love to have somebody who is an atheist, a reductionist materialist on this show. The only qualification is you've got to be a nice guy and you got to have a sense of humor and you got to be willing to talk about the things that we three religious nuts talk about.
Or a girl. It could be a nice girl.
Oh, it could be a nice girl too. Yes, absolutely. Not being sexist here. Any human being that can talk about these things, from the atheist, materialist, reductionist, imagine there's no heaven, John Lennon kind of guy, we would like you on the Rundown. So, all right, now I've made my appeal. So we're just going to hop right into it. And I have asked everybody to try to be extra energetic tonight, including myself, because I have not been all that energetic lately, but tonight that's going to change. I think I have 6 really, really good topics.
Awesome.
All right, here are the 6 initial topics. Number 1, the Devil's Tramping Ground, which is a place in South Carolina where nothing grows. Topic 2, Victor, not that Victor, and the Sick Dying Alien, which is a pretty dang interesting video. Topic 3, has the Large Hadron Collider been sabotaged by time travelers? Topic 4, Darth JarJar. Topic 5. Topic 5. Why are spiritualist activities so cringe-inducing? And topic 6. A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. Does anybody know what that is?
I do not.
No.
If you know that last one, the Moss Proposal, I'd like to learn a little about it.
I'll tell you what that is, but I was really hoping that I could get your thoughts on Darth JarJar.
We'll get to that too.
Because you're the Star Trek aficionado here.
Star Wars.
Or Star Wars. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I saw a cartoon the other day where it was the Enterprise with a what do you call this? An Imperial cruiser off, and they were firing lasers at the Enterprise, and it's pew,
wow.
boom, 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 pew, pew, and somebody, Scotty or something, says, "We've got the shields up, Captain. They're not hurting us." He says, "They're using lasers, huh? Why don't you beam a photon torpedo onto their bridge?"
There you go.
Which would,
yeah, I think Captain Kirk can take him down.
Which would take care of the problem. Okay, Jonathan Swift was the author who wrote Gulliver's Travels. He was a political satirist, really biting, cutting humor, and he wrote this book, or this essay, called A Modest Proposal. And the modest proposal was that, sure got a lot of excess children here in England. Maybe we ought to figure out a way to make recipes out of them, and we could have a whole lot of people chowing down on babies. A baby properly cooked, it's very tender. They're relatively easy to come by. I mean, probably I'll have what's her name, Avalon, read some of Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal. But it's the kind of thing that most political science major type people read when they're in about 10th grade. And they just go crazy with it.
Okay, was this a serious writing, or is this
no
satire kind of?
Yeah. Right. A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift is all right, let's see what it says here. That's a good word. A modest proposal for preventing the children of poor people from being a burden to their parents or country, and for making them beneficial to the public. Commonly referred to as a modest proposal, is a Juvenalian satirical essay written and published by Anglo-Irish writer and clergyman Jonathan Swift in 1729. The essay suggests that poor people in Ireland could ease their economic troubles by selling their children as food to the elite. In English writing, the phrase, a modest proposal, is now conventionally an allusion to this style of straight-faced satire.
I am speechless.
I have made you speechless?
I can't grasp the thought of someone even. I mean, when I think of Gulliver's Travels, that's a good family rated G book. And then we're going to go right about eating babies. That reminds me of in the Old Testament about them boiling babies to eat and things like that.
Right, but he's not being serious.
He's not being serious at all. I mean,
I know, but
what do you think is the statement he's trying to make here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I mean, I know it's not literal, but why would you write that? And so there's obviously a point that's trying to be made, and it sounds like maybe a political point. I mean, maybe taxing people to the point where they have no food or something.
Well, he wrote this in 1729, and it's still part of the lexicon. So here we are in 300 years later, essentially, and you can go to any political science department at any university in the country and just say, what do you think about a modest proposal? And they'll know what you're talking about. Okay, there just aren't that many things written that have that kind of staying power. I think what he was doing was observing and I'm going to sound all liberal here, but who cares? He was observing the tremendous wealth disparity between the elite and the poor.
Right.
He was probably hearing a lot of elite people saying, oh man, sure wish those smelly peasants would go someplace else. And probably as a way of making fun of the elite, I believe that was the reason he wrote it. I don't think he was trying to harm those who were poor and unable to provide for themselves. I think he was trying to say how ridiculously unconcerned the elite were. I mean, I know that in many of these countries, say between, I don't know, let's say 800 and 1800, that if a family had a baby that they couldn't take care of,
yeah,
they didn't really want to kill the baby. Okay, they're not horrible. They're not horrible people.
Yeah,
but they also didn't know anybody who would take the baby, and so one of the things they would do is simply leave it in a ditch. Okay, where it was at least possible that somebody would come along and see the baby and decide they wanted to care for it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's almost always a convenient fiction that they had, because I doubt very often at all anybody came along to care for the baby. Most likely they died of exposure, wild animals, or whatever. So I think Jonathan Swift was saying, okay, you guys are exploiting the poor in every other way. Why don't you make lunch out of their babies?
Okay.
I can try that.
And he never wrote anything later expanding on what he was trying to get across.
Oh, I think he just understood that. I think he just believed that people would understand that he was not in any way suggesting, making baby fries. He was making fun of those people who were exploiting the poor.
Right. Okay.
So this is not really a paranormal topic, but it's a topic that talks about how people think.
Mm-hmm. I would not say that it is not paranormal, because it's by no means normal at all.
Hello. This is Avalon Leanne Dankworth Smythe. You will now receive the honor of listening to my lovely feminine voice as I read a few paragraphs from Reverend Smith's satirical masterpiece. I shall now therefore humbly propose my own thoughts, which I hope will not be liable to the least objection. I have been assured by a very knowing American of my acquaintance in London, that a young healthy child well nursed, is, at a year old, a most delicious, nourishing and wholesome food, whether stewed, roasted, baked, or boiled. And I make no doubt that it will equally serve in a fricassee, or a ragoust. I do therefore humbly offer it to public consideration, that of the 120,000 children, already computed, 20,000 may be reserved for breed, whereof only 1/4 part to be males. Which is more than we allow to sheep, black cattle, or swine, and my reason is, that these children are seldom the fruits of marriage, a circumstance not much regarded by our savages, therefore, 1 male will be sufficient to serve for females. That the remaining 100,000 may, at a year old, be offered in sale to the persons of quality and fortune, through the kingdom, always advising the mother to let them suck plentifully in the last month, so as to render them plump, and fat for a good table. A child will make 2 dishes at an entertainment for friends. And when the family dines alone, the fore or hind quarter will make a reasonable dish, and seasoned with a little pepper or salt, will be very good boiled on the 4th day, especially in winter. I have reckoned upon a medium, that a child just born will weigh 12 pounds, and in a solar year, if tolerably nursed, increaseth to 28 pounds. I grant this food will be somewhat dear, and therefore very proper for landlords, who, as they have already devoured most of the parents, seem to have the best title to the children.
But I mean, on the other side of the coin, I mean, we've all read stories of true accounts where there's true cannibalism going on in different places. I mean,
Oh, yes.
what was the movie?
Soylent Green.
And there was another one. Was it who was it that was making chili out of the human? Was it fried green tomatoes or?
Wait a minute. No, Fried Green Tomatoes was about a family that had a
We
girl
just
with
talked about this.
cancer.
What movie was it that there was an abusive husband and they cut him up and
made chili out of him?
made chili out of him?
Okay. Dave, you got to help me on this one. I
don't recall. I
All right. This deserves some. Okay, movie.
Where's Josh?
He's sleeping. Abusive.
Exactly.
I hope he's sleeping. Abusive husband, killed, turned into chili.
Yeah. The restaurant was right beside the railroad track.
The scenario of a person being killed and made into chili is a notable plot point of the 1989 black comedy crime film, The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. The film is not about an abusive husband, rather a gangster whose wife cooks him after she has an affair.
That's not the movie, but
boy, he really got the raw end of that deal.
He really, well,
yeah.
First she had an affair on him, and then he got cooked.
Well,
No.
that movie, I was in Houston with my brother had moved down there. And most weekends we would say, hey, let's go see a movie. And I might take a friend of mine. He might take a friend of his. And this one time I wanted to see Mountains of the Moon, which was all about, Stanley and Livingston and exploring Africa and all this stuff, Richard Burton. And not the actor, the explorer. And he wanted to see The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. So I got outvoted. We went to see The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. And I lasted about 25 minutes. And then I just said, hey, guys, I got to go. I can't.
It was fried green tomatoes.
It was fried green tomatoes.
Was.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Tell me.
The name of the cafe was Whistle Stop Cafe.
Fried Green Tomatoes was written by Fannie Flagg, wasn't it?
Let's see. Evelyn and ordinary housewife visits a nursing home and befriends old lady. Director John Avnet. Writers Fannie Flagg and Carol.
Fannie Flagg.
So, yeah.
So they kill a guy and they turn him into chili.
Yep. And it was supposedly the best chili they ever had.
We see the problem with that is that your customers come to expect that kind of quality.
Yeah.
And replacing that ingredient is challenging.
That's amazing. I thought it was fried green tomatoes.
Well,
yeah.
I'm buying it. I've never seen fried green tomatoes.
Oh,
what was the movie? Steel Magnolias. That's the movie I saw.
Steel Magnolias is a good one too. I tell you, in that kind of plot thing, I mean, minus the cannibalism, one of my all-time favorites that I used to watch with my grandmother all the time was Driving Miss Daisy.
Well, that's a great movie.
That was a great movie.
Hello, this is Cedric Dankworth Smythe. At this point in the program, the lads delved into a rather long and rather contentious political argument. Well, that's not the Paranormal Rundown. And since it's my job to keep them in line, I'm keeping them in line. It wasn't a bad discussion, and in fact it will probably be published on Father Birdsong's Ending the Curse podcast at some point in the future. Keep tuned, and you'll get to hear the political side of the gang of nerds. Thank you. Cedric Dankworth Smythe, signing out.
How about we pull a topic, Vic?
Yes, we do. Get Father Mike out of trouble.
I want to talk about Darth JarJar.
Darth JarJar. Okay,
so I'll tell you what this is. In the Reddit community,
yeah,
which kind of runs the world, there is this idea, this meme, this cultural movement that Jar Jar is actually the final and most powerful Sith Lord.
And it is so far from the truth. Jar Jar was from, I forget the name of the race.
Gungans.
Yeah, and they were known to be very wise. So Jar Jar was kind of like let's just say he was part of the Catholic Church and excommunicated for a while.
Because he was clumsy.
Yeah. and so but he winds up with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and especially in the Clone Wars. And so Jar Jar takes Anakin and Kenobi to his world.
Uh-huh.
And there the Obi-Wan and Anakin, young Anakin at that time, states their case to the king of that world. And so he employs Jar Jar because he's on the road of redeeming himself for whatever he did. I can't remember. But like you said, he was clumsy.
Well, let's not forget. Let's not forget that Jar Jar cast the final critical vote.
Yes.
That allowed the Emperor to take over the Senate.
Exactly.
All right. So I could see a conspiracy storyline where Jar Jar was Sith from the beginning.
Wow, I never thought. I was in a whole different road of protection.
Played the doofus until he gained enough power. And then he's the last Sith standing. I could see that. I find it comical.
You bring up a point there, my man. I hadn't thought about that, but I was ready to defend him until you brought that up.
Maybe he was the smartest Gungan of them all.
Maybe he was. But then the king employed him to help in the Clone War, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's okay. It's already done he had one life purpose, if that's the case. Get Palpatine in power.
Or protect Obi-Wan and Ben in the war, remember? Do you remember the whole storyline?
No, I didn't watch many of the Clone Wars.
He was there up under that bubble, so to speak, trying to protect Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Well, he was totally inept,
clumsy as,
but everything that he did worked out well. Okay, so I mean, he's
was
falling
being
backwards and he
clumsy.
throws one of those little explosive balls, and he hits
That's
from
it.
just the right, perfect place.
Or
Well,
was
he was planning that the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Or was being clumsy his cover up?
Yeah, that's his cover.
Right. That,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
you're
yeah.
thinking. Now you're thinking.
Now I'm thinking.
Is that the way they take it there, Vic, on the Reddit? Is that
The idea of Jar Jar Binks being a secret Sith Lord is a popular fan theory, not a canonical fact. But it suggests that his bumbling act was a facade for incredible skill and manipulations. Supporters point to his unique physical feats, political maneuvering that led to Palpatine's rise to power, and suspicious luck as evidence that he was a powerful dark side user, possibly even Palpatine's master.
Oh no, that was no.
Well, now that's an interesting thought.
Darth Plagueis was Palpatine's master. Plagueis was Plagueis is the one that played with life and trying to live forever.
Right.
And Palpatine poisoned him and killed him at the end. And that started the whole reign of.
I think that the way that this works is now that Palpatine is dead, finally, I think Jar Jar is who takes over. I think that makes sense. I can see the next 3 movies will be about the rise of Emperor Binks.
I'd like to see that. That would throw
Hey, listen, they can't do much worse than they've already done. I think that would be a great twist.
Well, Disney can't destroy Star Wars more than they have already done either.
That's my point.
But that does bring. I mean, is the clumsiness a whole cover up?
Yeah.
I mean, to the point of even destroying his own side for a purpose at a specific time.
Well, Father Mike, you went back and read a lot of these, or listened to, or read a lot of these old Star Wars books, right?
Yes, I love them.
And so there were a lot of Darth whatevers.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't read all these books, but I did read an article one time. It was talking about, Sith Lords who could control time, who could, they could do things that none of the Sith Lords we've seen in canon could do.
Well, you know what? And the reason why is because the reason why I like him so much, and God forgive me for what I'm about to say, because it works in the world too. I like the Sith.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love the Sith.
I like the Sith.
Too. And you know why? It's because they're honest. They don't sway.
They don't sway.
They don't sway any way. But every time you look at the Jedi, they're like us. We're up 1 minute, down 1 minute, up 1 minute, down 1 minute. They're like, there was a song that was famous when I was in Belize, Central America 35 years ago called the Yo-Yo Baby. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're up, you're down. When you're down, you're up. I mean, that's the Jedi to me. I mean, if you look at it, they're one way one moment.
The Jedi are morally variable.
And the Sith are, hey, we're constant. And and that's what just came to my mind one day, and that's why I like them so much. Plus the storyline. I mean, it's just awesome. But I can see that about Jar Jar. Just acting so crazy that nobody pays attention to him, and then all in the background, I'm drawing you in, and not to mention he was real close to Anakin, so he may be a part of Anakin's whole drawing into Palpatine
Yeah, maybe he was instrumental in turning Anakin.
That's right.
All right, back in the real world.
All right, back in the real world. I still like the idea of Darth JarJar, but
What about the what was it? One thing struck my mind. The sick dying. Well, hold on. The first one was Devil's.
Devil's Tramping Ground, yeah.
All right, what was the second one?
Victor, not that Victor, and the sick dying alien.
Yeah. What in the world? I wrote that down, but I couldn't read my own writing. What about that?
Okay, I'll just open myself up for ridicule. There are
The first thing that I thought of was Will what's his name on July 4th, and the alien opened up his egg, and Will Smith punched him in the mouth.
Independence Day.
Yeah, that's it. Independence Day. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard the topic.
There are a number of pretty darn interesting videos that you can find on YouTube or anything like that of supposed aliens being interrogated at Area 51 and at similar places across the world. The idea is that the Russians had a place where they were interrogating aliens from crashed alien craft. And they're done in such a way where it was either at the time, a major studio that was making that film, or they were truly interviewing an alien, because they're just very, very visually convincing. And one of them has an alien in there that you get the idea that he's very sick and that he's about to die.
Okay. Well, what do you think about that?
Um,
And on a side note of that, what do you think about that? And you mentioned several places. Do you think that there's more places than just Area 51, so to speak, throughout the states?
Well, I don't know about throughout the states. I don't think Area 51 does what it once did. I think Area 51 is pretty much now just secret military aircraft. But I would bet my bottom dollar that the Soviets had a similar kind of facility. And China probably has a similar kind of facility. It may even be that England and France have similar facilities. Have they had aliens that they could interrogate and interview? I don't know, but I bet they have, personally. And one of the reasons I say that comes down to Bob Lazar. I've been watching Bob Lazar for, probably 25 years now.
Okay.
And man, that guy has never changed his story any. It's the same exact story he was telling, 25 years ago. He's never come forward acting like he really wants a lot of publicity. He carries on with his life, as a very odd outsider scientist.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about them having these craft. Well, if they have these craft, they had to get here somehow, and they must have something controlling them.
True.
Unless you think of them as being, just huge, incredibly advanced drones. But no, I don't think they are. I think there have been enough of these stories to where, once again, I believe some of them are true.
Yeah. And let me go ahead and say this. Yes, yes, Father Mike believes in the supernatural. Number one, I'm not God. Number two, do I believe God created more than us? Refer back to quote number one. I'm not God. God will create whatever he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
God created heaven and earth. God created us. Did he create more? Who am I to question God? The answer is I don't know. So, David and Vic, what is your thoughts?
My thoughts have always been somewhat opposed to many religions, is that God is the God of creation. And there is no reason to believe that we are the only creation.
I agree.
I've never felt that that's the case at all.
I agree.
And so my feeling is when you have a universe that's composed of trillions of galaxies, each composed of trillions of stars, kind of the contact view of things, it's an awful waste of space.
I agree. David?
Well, yeah, I mean, y'all know my feelings on it. We've talked about it before. I think that there's nothing scripturally that says God didn't create anything after the seventh day, and there's nothing that scripturally says that we're the only thing God created in the first 6 days. I think there's plenty of opportunity for God to create what he wants, and if God wants to let his creations interact with each other in visitations like craft or, aliens coming down, I don't see any problem with any of that. I think that, my perspective is, but God gave us in the Bible what we need for salvation, and everything else is just icing.
Hello.
As far as the video, I'm looking at an assessment of it here. Alien interview with Victor from S4, Area 51. What I would venture to say that this is a fake, but not because of any crazy analysis, technical analysis of the video, more because what you see is an alien face that's lit up and everything else is dark. So the only light is on his face. People come up with flashlights and occasionally hit along his body, but it seems like there's no reason not to interview an alien from another world or galaxy or universe in a lit room. And the only reason you do something like that in a dark room is to hide the context that it's being filmed in.
Yeah.
That's one very big advantage of having a dark room.
Yep. So, I don't know. Do I think that we've had alien encounters? I think it's very possible. I think I understand why the government, if we've had them, has chosen to keep them extremely under wraps. I get their concerns. I think that they're not valid, but I understand why they would want to do that. And the same thing with programs on alien craft and reverse engineered technology. We are and remain in a world that is dangerous, where various groups of humans are dangerous to each other. And any advantage you can get to keep your population safe, you take advantage of.
True.
And I think that probably drives the vast majority of alien encounters and recovered technology. And until we reach a point where there is such a drastic danger that technology is needed to be used to stop it, I don't think we'll see what it is. Right? But the day that God forbid, some foreign actor lobs a bunch of nuclear missiles at us. If we have it, that's the day we'll see it. And once it's out, there will be no putting that cat back in the bag.
What's the object that is approaching Earth right now?
Yeah, the
BIA
interstellar object. I forget the numbers anymore. It'd be cool if they gave him like a cool name, like Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer.
There you
Yeah.
go. That'd be awesome.
The incoming interstellar object refers to 3I Atlas,
Yeah.
the third interstellar object ever detected. Detected July 1st, 2025.
Yeah, and I find that their assessment of that is to take the absolute worst, most nefarious reason for its trajectory and apply that into the news so that everybody can get all riled up about it.
There you go.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
astronomers aren't doing that. I mean, they're just saying, hey, look, it's a comet.
Not true.
It's a weird
Not
comet.
true. One of the lead astronomers is out there saying there's only one reason it would take this trajectory, and that is to hide from us when it gets here. What is his name? I say he's an astronomer. I think he's an astronomer.
Well, wait a minute. I don't quite get that. I mean, because they're not hiding very well right now.
No, but there's something about when it gets to us, it is going to be, I believe, behind the sun.
Oh, okay.
So that for a good portion of when it is near us, we will not be able to observe it.
Okay.
And there is, I'm going to have to look it up, but there is an assessment that is a unique path that places it out of our visibility for a period of time in which it can do something nefarious, like maybe shift direction and stage an attack coming at us from the other side of the sun.
Surprise attack, like Japanese Zeros coming out of the sun.
Exactly. It's that kind of a theory. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe, but that doesn't seem very scientific.
Yeah. And plus to get how long does it take to get from the sun to here?
Well, it depends on how fast it's moving. It takes light 8 minutes to get from the sun to here. So, if it's not moving anywhere near as fast as light.
No. For one of our spacecrafts.
For one of our spacecraft?
Yeah.
Oh,
It would take
years and years.
months, years.
Yeah, it'd take years.
Okay, so it's Avi Loeb from Harvard, theoretical physicist, is saying that it is an alien probe potentially posing a threat. He acknowledges that it's speculative and not the scientific consensus, but that's what he's out there saying. That its trajectory, which includes close passes to multiple planets, is highly improbable. A chance of 1 in 20,000. Where does that number come from? I mean,
many of these
Who knows?
statistical chances, I have no idea where they come from. My real view is they come from the Yank It Out of Your Kazuni School of Statistics.
that sounds about right. Doesn't Harvard teach that class?
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I've seen that is interesting about it, although I've heard explanations for it, no, not in detail, is that it appears to be either internally lit or it's glowing at the front and not the rear like most objects would as they're flying through.
Headlights.
And so one theory is it's glowing. The other is that it is reflecting back the light from the sun to some degree. But I don't know. I haven't dug into the details of that, but it could indicate an artificial light or nuclear power that's driving it, something like that.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
It is different than the other objects, it seems, that we've seen in relationship to how it is lit.
Yeah. Well, Vic,
Yes, sir.
lead us on, sir.
Okay. Let's do another round.
Yeah, pull a list.
Hitting F9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'll throw this out. You guys tell me what you think. Types of alien interaction with humans. Soulless apparitions. PSI as a universal force. PSI particles. Controversial
When you
assassinations.
say PSI, you're talking about psi?
I'm talking about psi. Yeah.
Okay.
Psi. That theoretical force at the bottom of all parapsychological phenomena. One that JJ added to incantation bowls, which I know nothing about, and ectoplasm. Physical manifestations of ghosts.
I like psi.
I was about to say that. Yeah, that number 3 was kind of interesting. The psi thing.
I don't guess you remember a TV show called The Sixth Sense.
Dr. Michael Rhodes, leading authority in the investigation of psychic phenomena and the world of ESP.
The TV show. I think you and I have talked about this before because I only remember the Sixth Sense movie.
Yeah, there was a TV show.
Was it based on the movie?
No, came years before the movie.
Okay.
Oh, really? Huh.
Sixth Sense. Wait a minute. I think it had Gary Collins in it. Yep. Thriller, 2 seasons. The Sixth Sense. My mom and I used to watch this show.
I never knew there was a TV show of it.
Starring Gary Collins and Catherine Farrar. And it was kind of like a psychic Twilight Zone show.
That sounds like fun to me.
Oh, it was a good show. All right, so they, on that show, postulated the existence of psi. Okay? And this psi was like gravity. You know, this fundamental force that exists in the universe. They can observe it, you can sometimes measure it, but they have no idea where it comes from, and they don't really understand how it works. Which is, true of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can really tell you exactly how gravity works.
But the difference is gravity, you can test repeatedly and get consistent results.
It works the same way every time.
Unlike psi.
That's right. Doesn't matter how many people you send to the top of the building and have them step off, they all fall to the ground.
Yes. Yes. At varying rates depending upon their mass.
No. Everybody falls at the same rate.
Well, okay. No, not necessarily, because the more mass, the faster you reach terminal velocity, yes?
Well,
if you're large enough to where air resistance doesn't matter, everything's going to fall at the same rate.
I used to try that. I would take a piece of paper and ball it up,
Mm-hmm.
then take a couple of like paper clips, 3 or 4 of them, and join them together in a ball that weighed more than the paper, and hold them up like yay high, drop them. They fell at the same time.
Yep.
Knowing the paper clips weighed more than the piece of paper. I mean,
All right. Are you telling me that if I drop a watermelon
and a P.
and an anvil.
Yes.
They're both going to fall and hit the ground at the same time.
If you stand
Absolutely.
if you stand on top of the
All right, tell you what. Let me show you something. I want everybody to go to YouTube. We'll link this in the show notes. Okay. Type in NASA vacuum chamber drop. And the first thing that comes up on my computer is Brian Cox visits the world's biggest vacuum.
Yep. I'm looking at it. This
Okay.
is a bowling ball and a feather.
Belly ball and a feather. I promise you I'm not wasting your time here.
You never waste our time, Vic. Even
Oh, I
when
probably
you're
have.
wasting our time.
Hello. This is Avalon Lee and Dankworth Smythe. The demonstration to which Vic Hermansen is referring took place at the Space Simulation Vacuum Chamber, located in Sandusky, Ohio. It is 100 feet in diameter and 122 feet tall. That's huge. It is normally used for testing spacecraft in an environment that closely approximates the harsh vacuum environment of space. It attains this level of vacuum using cryogenic pumps that operate for 8 to 16 hours prior to a test. The vacuum achieved approaches the best vacuum that can be achieved on Earth, less than 4 times 10 to the negative 6th torr. Wow! That's emptier than a flat earther's brain. If you'd like to feel a few moments of genuine wonder, you should watch the video of feathers falling at the same speed as a bowling ball.
All right, so thank you, Dave.
And see, I remember physics back in the early 80s of learning this, and it was just amazing to me because you'd think,
Yeah, it's your natural thought.
yeah,
But it doesn't matter what it is. If it's moving in 1G, it moves at 9 meters a second. It accelerates at 9 meters a second per second.
well, that was the whole point of taking the piece of paper and balling it up
Yep.
versus letting it go where it floats in the air.
Right. Now, one of the astronauts took a feather with him to the moon and a hammer, and he stands there in front of the camera and drops them both at the same time. And he says, "Ooh, looks like Mr. Newton was right."
Okay, so
And when I see that, I mean, the mega nerd in me, that almost makes me cry watching that. I mean, it really does. I mean, I really kind of choke up.
So as obviously not a scientist, what you're saying is, because there was something confusing that he said at the end that I
forget that. He's talking about.
I want to ask about it, but
Okay. He's talking about general relativity at the end.
okay, but so what I get out of that is gravity, this force that pulls things together.
Yes.
Right.
Easy way to talk about it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is doing so at the same rate
For everything.
everything within its grasp.
Yes. If we are on the Earth, we are falling at 9 meters per second. We're accelerating at 9 meters per second. If we are on the moon, we're accelerating 1/6 that speed. If we're on Mars, we're accelerating about 1/3 that speed. If we're on Saturn,
and each of these, hang on, in each of these cases, we're accelerating towards the thing you're discussing, which is the mass object that's got the draw.
Yeah.
So your acceleration towards the moon
Mhm.
is based on the moon's mass.
Yes.
So the mass, the gravity is, the pull is based on the mass of the object that's doing the pulling.
And I mean, there is actually a gravitational attraction of the planet by the feather. I mean, there is gravity. The feather is exerting a gravitational pull on the planet.
And that's where
It's so infinitesimal that it.
So
infinitesimal.
minuscule.
Right. So minuscule it doesn't
That
matter.
it cannot be measured. So in theory, the feather may accelerate towards the earth faster than the bowling ball, but it is such a small, I'm sorry, the opposite. The bowling ball may accelerate towards the earth faster than the feather, but the effect of its mass is so small that we couldn't measure it.
That's correct.
Well, that's where I was also going to say that gravity of the feather could actually work in the opposite. If the feathers were tied together where they could not collect air, it would fall the same
Yeah,
rate.
they as long as you're not getting that air resistance.
But in that falling with the gravity, if the feathers were outspread and designed to use gravity, so to speak, in a positive way, it would actually float. And,
Right. And you're dealing with resistance there.
And
that makes sense. I get the idea of resistance. I had always thought, okay, if I take a bowling ball and then I take if I take a bowling ball made out of the typical bowling ball acrylic materials, right? And then I take a bowling ball made out of styrofoam. I finish them exactly the same, perfectly smooth, same size, no holes, and I drop them. In theory, the heavy bowling ball should fall faster.
You think?
And
if there's air,
what
it
you're
probably
saying
does.
is it does, but the amount faster, because it is so small compared to the mass of the earth that's drawing it, is immeasurable.
I think that's as good a way of putting it as any. Yeah. But every object in the universe exerts a gravitational influence on
Anything that has mass.
Every other object in the universe. Okay. And even incredibly massive things like black holes, neutron stars, or just stars. I mean, they exert a gravitational pull on photons, which don't have mass. Right. And this is one of the mysteries is why is that happening? There's no mass to attract. But it does. That's why you get gravitational lensing. That's why you get, but yeah, everything in a gravitational field will accelerate at the same rate.
Well, minus its own offset from its own mass, where measurable.
Yeah, but man, I mean, there's nothing on a planet.
Yeah.
Understood.
I guess if you could drop Mount Everest or something like that, but there's nothing on a planet where there's anything you can measure.
The International Federation of Nerds, the IFON, will be reviewing Vic Hermanson's nerd status at the earliest possible opportunity. One should expect consequences, as he failed to fully explain the observable mechanism of gravity in clear, complete, concise, and understandable language. No more late-night star parties for him for a while. The difference in mass between the feathers and the bowling ball actually creates zero difference in accelerational speed, because it requires greater force to accelerate more massive objects. That entirely cancels the greater theoretical gravitational attraction of the bowling ball as compared to the feathers. In fact, a good definition of mass is resistance to acceleration. Here's hoping the IFON chooses to be merciful rather than just. I know he is hanging his head in shame.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk about the second thing, which is the general relativity aspect of this.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what he was saying was the bowling ball is not moving at all.
Well, what he's saying, I don't think he really stated that correctly. Okay, this is Brian Cox, and I don't have his PhDs. But what Einstein was talking about was, look, you're in an elevator going down at a constant rate. Okay, so all you can feel is acceleration. You can't feel constant velocity. Okay, and so That's why you don't feel the planet move, because there's not any change in the acceleration. It's always moving at the same velocity. But he said, look, if you don't have any way of seeing what's around you, you don't know if you're going down or if you're standing still and everything else is going up. There's no way to tell.
I get that.
Okay? There's no way to tell.
So in order to calculate, accurately describe something's movement, when that bowling ball is released,
and them feathers,
let's say, we'll just take the bowling, just one thing. So that bowling ball is released. Let's say that the drop tower that it was in is 3 miles deep. Okay. And you are on a rotating, spinning planet.
Right. Now we're talking about reference frames.
Right. So there is the aspect of the draw of gravity that is pulling the bowling ball down towards its center. But given enough distance, it's going to be off center because of the actual spin of the planet and the fact that the ball is in free fall and not attached to anything that is spinning with the planet. Is that correct?
I haven't really studied anything moving in a vertical axis 3 miles down. The impact.
Well, I just made up a number. I mean, at some point.
Yeah, but that's a completely reasonable thing. I mean, somebody's dug a hole straight down toward the center of the Earth, 3 miles deep.
Right.
Okay, there's a target down there, like Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner. Remember those targets they would always have down there? The coyote is right there in the middle of that target. We got an anvil 3 miles high. We're going to drop this anvil 3 miles. And the question is the rotation of the Earth enough to where it would skew the falling path to where the coyote doesn't get squished?
Right.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
It's just going to fall straight down because everything is moving.
Well, let's think about that. Actually,
everything is moving in the same reference plane. Okay, so for instance, one of the things that all the flat earthers will say was, well, why are we spending all this damn money on jet fuel? Why don't you just take a helicopter and park it up above Denver and just leave it there, and the Earth will rotate underneath it, and pretty soon you're going to be having New York coming up underneath you. Ain't spend no money on anything but that helicopter fuel. I did that pretty well.
That's pretty funny right there.
And so, but no, the helicopter is moving in the same reference plane as the planet.
Okay, so here's the challenge, and I think that this is where the same factor that was at play with the feathers is at play with what I'm suggesting. The bowling ball is actually moving in the same direction and speed of the planet when it's connected.
Correct.
When it's disconnected,
then it would move on its own.
But it's still an object in motion tends to stay in motion.
Until acted
upon. It's going
on.
to stay in motion unless there's any other resistance. And as long as that 3 mile deep tower was a vacuum with no air resistance, then there's no reason for it to fall anything other than straight, because it would maintain the same velocity forward as it was when it was released.
But
the only thing acting on it is gravity pulling it to the center.
Right. But all that air in there is moving at the same speed as the planet. The bowling ball is moving at exactly the same speed as the planet.
Well, remember,
so it's not going to meet any resistance, and therefore there's no reason for it to change its arc.
Right.
That it's going around.
You've ever seen?
I remember a case where someone took something like a bowling ball in a penny, and took it to the top of the Empire State Building. And they had the bowling ball or whatever in the penny sideways, not flat. and the person said, of course, the bowling ball is going to hit first because it weighs more. And the penny.
Feel bad for the street sweepers.
Yeah, the penny and the yeah, right.
Or the pedestrians.
Yeah. Yeah, God forbid. But both of them fell at the same time, and both of them landed at the same time. And interesting enough, because of the angle of the penny being sideways up and down, it even embedded into the sidewalk.
Not heard the story. I don't know what the terminal velocity of a penny is.
Yeah, well, I don't.
I mean, is this a copper penny or one of them aluminum pennies?
I'm sure it was old-fashioned copper, not zinc or aluminum.
But I mean, but the bottom line is, as long as things are big enough to overcome air resistance, as long as you're on Earth, they're going to fall at the same rate. Now you can do
another story in the urban myth would be, because of that penny, because of that study or whatever, and the terminal velocity of it, if that penny was to hit a person in the head, what damage would it do?
I think all of these are kind of in
remember that old urban legend, right?
Yeah, I think all of these are in the urban myth zone. I don't think. In fact, I know they've never dropped any bowling balls off the Empire State Building, at least deliberately. And,
now, I do know a bowling ball story that's not an urban myth.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay.
There was once a guy who chucked a bowling ball.
It's not urban
off
myth, but there was
of a 10-story building onto a waterbed and watched it explode.
The waterbed,
and that was David Letterman, and that was when late night used to be funny.
Back when they did stupid human tricks?
Yeah.
He used to throw watermelons off the top of that building, bowling ball. They did all kinds of crazy stuff.
One television show that did an excellent job of illustrating the effect of gravity on irregular objects was WKRP in Cincinnati.
So far, so good, huh? I'm here with hundreds of people who have gathered to witness what has been described as perhaps the greatest turkey event in Thanksgiving Day history. All we know for sure is that in a very few moments there are going to be a lot of happy people out here. Now the crowd is curious but well behaved, and I think I hear something now. The crowd is moving out into the parking area, and oh yes, I can see it now. It's a helicopter, and it's coming this way.
A helicopter?
It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner, and it says, Happy Thanksgiving from WKRP. What a sight, ladies and gentlemen, what a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object, perhaps a skydiver, plummeting to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second to the third. There's no parachutes yet. Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! Johnny, this is terrible. The cars running around, pushing each other? Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, lads. For those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
Well, one thing you can do that doesn't create a situation where everything is moving in the same reference plane. There are two things you can do. You can make a Foucault's pendulum, a Foucault's pendulum. Okay, you ever seen one of those?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you get a big tower, you get a big long wire coming down from the top of the tower. I've seen them as much as 200 feet long.
Yeah, you've done a big one, right? You did, didn't you?
We did. We made a Foucault's
stadium?
pendulum in the Astrodome.
Yeah. That's a big pendulum.
That's a big pendulum.
Crazy enough, I saw a picture yesterday, as a matter of fact. And if I can find it again, I'll send it to you guys. But a friend of mine on Facebook, he owns a roofing company. And in the caption of it, he said, "My son found his first," meaning that they have found several before. But he said, "My son finally found his first bullet on top of a roof."
Oh, really? Okay.
That was embedded in the shingles.
So if people out there, pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that.
How many times did we shoot guns up in the air? All the time. They got to live somewhere.
Who's we?
I've done that once. I've done that once in my life, and I thought that my dad was going to kill me.
and you're lucky he didn't.
You know, he's, don't you ever do that again.
I mean, that just goes to show you that they got to land somewhere. You may think it's innocent. Yeah.
Well, you can also, Dave, you can put a satellite in polar orbit. Okay, so most satellites are kind of rotating around the Earth in the same direction the Earth is going, different levels of inclination. But if you put a satellite in orbit going North Pole to South Pole, as long as it's outside of the atmosphere, it'll behave like a Foucault's pendulum. It'll just continue in that orbit. There's nothing to drag it along.
Mm-hmm.
The planet will rotate underneath it. And so you put a camera on that, then you can get strips of the planet every time it goes around, strips and strips and strips and strips.
How close to the planet does gravity become a force?
Well, I mean, the people in the ISS, they're experiencing about 98% of the gravity that you're experiencing and that I'm experiencing.
Right, but they're low orbit. I mean, ISS is not.
Yeah, they're low orbit. So the question is, how far away from Earth do you have to get where Earth isn't the primary gravitational influence? I don't know. I know you can get to a point where the moon is the primary gravitational influence. I don't know, plus, no matter where you are in here, the sun's a lot bigger than everything else.
Right. So if you're free falling, if you escape Earth's gravity, eventually you should be pulled into the sun, right?
Eventually. Need some sandwiches.
Pack a 12-pack.
Yeah, pack a 12-pack. It'll take you a while.
Yeah.
Father Mike, you okay up there?
I am. I was just looking for that picture that I was telling you guys about, but I can't find it right now.
So how did we get on this gravitational question here?
I don't have a clue.
We were talking about, you sidetracked us. We were supposed to be talking about psi.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Well, I like the idea of these paranormal phenomena having some commonality. There being something that's causing these effects. And of course, they were talking about mind-to-mind communication and spoon bending and stuff like this. You see, that's one of the things that always gets me is the showmanship always around any kind of unusual phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always, you know, I've got to bend these spoons. And of course, the legends grow. So, for instance, Uri Geller shows up on a British TV show, and he's got a clock. And, you know, so he says, oh, somebody brought me this clock. It's been dead for 5 years, but I'm going to do my mojo on it. You know, give it the whammy, the Uri whammy, and it's going to start working again. And of course it does. Now, but the thing is, the next day they keep getting letters or phone calls from people in the community saying, oh, my mom's clock started working again. and when Uri was bending those spoons, man, I went to my drawer and they're all bent. You know, dang you, Uri, I got to go buy new spoons now.
Now, do you think that someone can really put a spoon on their leg or on their knee? And let me think about this and cause this spoon to bend.
I have no evidence that that's the case.
Every time I see that on TV, I'm like, really, get out of here.
Hey, listen, this is an interesting thing. And I will try to find the article. I was in Mensa in Houston, and I'm not a big Mensa fan. A lot of Mensa people are real jerks. Yes, like you can find me you can write me a letter, but yes, a lot of Mensa people are real jerks, probably including me occasionally. But they do have a very active gifted children's program. And two of the young men in this gifted children's program were trained by a stage magician to bend spoons and to do other Uri Geller type magical things. And then to demonstrate these things to scientists there in the Houston area. And they could fool the scientists almost all the time.
Huh.
You know, I mean, these scientists were talking about, oh, we need to, you know, set up a study to find out exactly what's happening with these two incredibly gifted young men. And they're just laughing their butts off because they're not doing anything. But they were able to convince highly educated scientific folk that they could really bend spoons or really read what was in the closed box or, you know, do these Uri Geller type of tricks. Scientists are easy to fool.
Huh. That's interesting.
If you want to set up a study with scientists where they're not going to be fooled, then you got to get another magician. Right. Somebody who's used to fooling people.
Mm-hmm. Who can spot the con. So what do you think psi is?
Well, first off, I have no idea if it actually exists. I do believe that there is I don't know if it's a unique force or not. I know there have been times in my life where I suddenly know something that I have no reason to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like what this person is going to say, what's going to come around that corner. And it's a feeling more of actual knowledge than guessing.
Right.
I mean, really trivial example. I know I've been playing Wordle, and I'll get everything wrong on the first word. I'll get 2 letters in the wrong place on the second word. And then, of course, I'll look at it and knowing how letters work together. But in my mind, it'll suddenly say, you know, skunk. And I'll type in skunk, and that's the word. Now, did I have enough knowledge to give myself the certainty that it was skunk? No. Did I have enough knowledge to say, nah, it's a pretty good chance it's skunk? And my brain does all that, your brain does all that without you really thinking about it. Okay, so
my Wordle score would say otherwise, but yes, go ahead.
But there are things that happen in our lives that don't seem to me to be easily explained just through mechanics, just through the chemical natures of our brains.
True. You know what?
What?
It all kind of along the same subject as what we're talking about right now.
Uh-huh.
With what we're talking about right now, and we talked about Jar Jar a few minutes ago.
Uh-huh.
I can't help but go to the Force.
Yeah. I was just thinking.
You have the light side of the Force, and you have the dark side of the Force.
Uh-huh. And if you're Obi-Wan hanging off a light fixture down that huge tunnel,
right,
you can give the whammy to the lightsaber and have it come back to your hand, and then you can give the whammy to your body and get out of there.
Let's get to the root of it, though. What makes the good side versus the bad side of the Force, per se?
Intention.
Because intention.
This is what I was going to say. If you look at whether it's light or dark, in the end, in that mythos, the Force is energy created by the midichlorians inside the Jedi or Sith Lord's body.
Right.
Right? The midichlorians create the Force, and then they use it, the Force, for whatever their purpose is.
Well, wait a minute.
And what you're finding is also two different sides of the truth. Now think about that for a minute. You're finding out two different sides of the truth, and which one is correct?
Well, I mean,
think about that for a moment. I know the correct answer. The correct answer for us would be, it's always the light.
Well, wait a minute. Are we talking factual truth? Are we talking moral truth? Are we talking
yes,
existential truth? What are we talking about here?
Yes.
I mean,
the answer is yes.
It's the truth that Father Mike is wearing a blue shirt.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what shade is it?
Don't know.
All right.
Pantone 621.
So I think what's interesting here is the Star Wars universe parallels ours in a lot more than you would think.
Yes, I agree.
You can look at a Jedi who has this intuition that something needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no right and wrong in that thing, because we have seen Jedis do things that they were certain was right that had bad outcomes.
Yeah.
I think that is probably very similar to some psi phenomena we have in reality.
Thank you.
Which is that you do have psychics and mediums that have visions or intuition about things, some of which are accurate, some of which aren't. The mechanism may be the same with how that gets into their head, but how they use it or interpret it may be what's wrong. And I'll tell you, the perfect example of this for me is if I said to you, Father Mike, I'm going to investigate a house that has all kinds of negative activity, and I'm going to bring Joe Blow Psychic out with me. You know, he's got a palm reading sign on the street corner around me, and so he's pretty cheap an hour. I'm going to pay him his $25 and say, okay, Joe, tell me what all do you see in this house? And I'm going to give you an answer, and you would look at me and go, yeah, I don't think he's hearing what you're thinking, right? That is not from God. That is, that's probably demonic in its nature. right? He's being told stuff that tells a story. But if I was a Catholic exorcist, and because they do this, and I had a member of the laity who has visions, whom I have tested that their visions are always confirming God and not otherwise, I might take them on an investigation and say, you know, Sybil, tell me what it is that you see in this house. And she tells me, and you're much more likely to go, huh, yeah, that could be true.
Yeah.
The mechanism may be the same in both.
Don't you think there's... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Don't you think there's a situation, though, where some people, I would think it would be almost necessary that some people would have greater natural skill at manipulating whatever's being manipulated than others.
Yes.
Okay. Just like some people are faster. Some people can jump higher. Some people can swim faster. Some people can think.
Oh, you mean an innate ability to interpret or receive psychic messages?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Agreed. But I don't think anybody really understands it. There's a really fun movie, an interesting movie called The Indian in the Cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool movie.
It's a very cool movie.
I like that.
Okay. And so the story is this little boy has a cupboard. And he can close it and he can open it. And there's a little Indian in there. And it's a real little Indian. And it's come from someplace in history. He has a family. He has a history. And one time he opens it and there's an old man in there, an elderly Indian. And he dies of a heart attack. And the Indian says something like, you are a child. You should not do magic you don't understand. And I think we're all in that situation where even the people who have a tremendous ability to manipulate whatever's being manipulated, they don't have any understanding of what they're doing. Now, I might concede the point that there are disciplines on the earth that have learned to control this and understand it to a certain degree. Maybe some of the saints, maybe some of these secret societies up in the Himalayas. I don't know. But I think everybody approaches it with pretty much complete ignorance.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I think the best way to approach either side is with the acknowledgement that you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you approach either side thinking you're all that, you're going to mess up.
Well, I mean, the chance of causing harm, I think, is much greater than the chance of bringing about something good.
Right, and that's why I like Anakin so much. I mean, you can't really fault Anakin in Star Wars. That eventually turns into Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you can kind of fault him when he goes walking into the temple with the kids, but
well, I agree with you on that point. But the beginning of it, the whole story of it is you can't fault him for seeing the number one, and I hate to put it this way, but the hypocrisy of the Jedi. And then you see the straightforward, never swaying part of the Sith. Although there's a twisting there. Come on,
I'm
man.
a little concerned about him, Vic.
Me too.
This whole relating to the Sith, Father Mike, we need to talk.
Darth Michael.
Darth Birdsong.
But tell me I'm wrong. I mean,
no. If you're talking about consistency and moral approach,
the consistency of the Sith and the hypocrisy of the Jedi,
and that's much like the consistency of a sociopath versus the hypocrisy of a normal human.
What do the
you got a point there?
Look, you've studied this deeply, Father Mike. What is the purpose of the Sith? What do they want to bring about in the universe?
A consistency of order, but in their way.
Okay.
It's totally, it would be like, in our world, it would be like Lucifer, in his dark pathway of ruling, having total control, and there's order. But the Jedi, unfortunately, on our part, the storyline is, it's so inconsistent. It's up and down. It's in and out. But on the same point, the Jedi proves my point on our path that Christians make Christianity complicated.
Humans make life complicated.
All right, Sir David, your turn.
No, that said it beautifully. I got nothing to add to that.
It's just the way I've always seen it. I mean, I know it's a storyline, but there's a lot of truth to it, and I can't help it. The Sith are so constant, and
Yeah. Well, again, so is the demonic. So I
exactly.
Well, let me bring this tour to close with Diogenes. Remember Diogenes?
What'd you call me?
Diogenes.
Diogenes.
Diogenes,
Look that up.
ancient Greek philosopher. They're generally shown carrying a lamp around the world, looking for one honorable man.
Okay.
Okay, looking for one honorable man.
With you now.
And his famous quote is, "Man has complicated every simple gift of the gods."
True.
Okay,
I agree.
saying that it doesn't matter how much goodness we're given, how much wonder, how much wealth, how much of the good we're given. As man, we're always going to screw it up. we're always going to complicate it. So maybe the Sith simply go by that edict and say, listen, at least I know how I'm going to screw it up. I mean,
I'll give George a call and ask him about it.
Yeah, this is an interesting set of look. I like this line of inquiry. I've never really quite understood the Sith, and I got to tell you that one scene in, I don't know, Palpatine and Darth Maul, are walking along in bad green screen, and Darth Maul's really only about my size, little bitty guy. Doesn't quite come off as a Darth Vader type. But he's walking along and he says something like, "Finally, the world will see our power. Finally, we will come out of hiding." Or something. I don't know what he says, but you know the scene that I'm talking about.
Tatooine is sparsely populated. If the trace was correct, I will find them quickly, Master.
Move against the Jedi first. You will then have no difficulty in taking the Queen to Naboo to sign the treaty.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
You have been well trained, my young apprentice. They will be no match for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as a scene. But then at some point they say, well, it was a Sith, but there are only ever two. There's a master and a student.
Right.
Is that true?
That
for the entire Star Wars universe at any given time?
That happened from Darth Bane forward. It was called the Rule of Two.
Oh, the Rule of Two, okay.
Rule of Two, a master and apprentice, one to have the power and one to seek it. And the apprentice had to kill the master.
Yeah, I was thinking that had to be the way that things went on.
Yeah, to become the master. And
okay.
If you look at the Darth Bane trilogy, it spells it all out. And that's the greatest series of all time. That trilogy is The top of the top.
All right. At some point, and when we get back together again, I would like Father Mike to tell us all about Darth Bane.
I know about Darth Bane. The person to talk to that will give you every bit of it is Josh.
Josh. Okay.
Josh is the one that brought me into it.
Well, as soon as Josh is feeling better.
Yeah. He's the canon master of Star Wars.
Is there anything that anybody else would like to say before we bring this to an end?
No, I think we're good.
I think so too. This was a rabbit hole.
within rabbit holes.
Exactly.
But that's okay. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
It will be an interesting episode.
Yeah, it will be.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I will go ahead and end this, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, probably.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
We will only have a short dungeon talk segment this evening, but let's hear about the Great Cicada Robbery of 1979.
The problem with living with all these trees right now is we've got 800 million cicadas in these trees.
Oh, God.
All around my house. And man, they are going at it.
I thought it was just in the southeast to where...
Ooh.
Dave, have you heard them this year just like last year? Loud as they...
We get very few down here, but I did actually find 2 on the side of the house 2 days ago.
Well, my little goofy dog, time to take him out to pee, the little guy. And he has no interest in peeing, even though he needs to pee. His interest is finding cicadas and eating them. So he'll...
What does that sound? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he probably eats a half dozen cicadas every time we go out.
Really?
Yes. Mostly dead, but occasionally he gets a live one.
And he literally eats them?
Oh, man. He just chows down on cicadas.
Lots of protein.
Hey, man. Okay, with all the cicadas you got, you need to start a new dog food chain.
Some dog food. Cicada special. The funniest cicada story that I have came from...
Welcome to the Paranormal Rundown.
When I was living in Houston, we had a really big brood one year. And they were... Cicadas come in different sizes. I mean, you've got these little guys that are about like that. Man, you got some that are like that.
Huge, yeah.
They're big cicadas. And, they got those red eyes. And so there were these jerk teenagers who figured out that if they all got a cicada in their hand and walked into a 7-Eleven or a Quick Stop or a Rutter's or whatever, and noticed that there was like a 19-year-old girl behind the counter, they could hold those cicadas up to her and say, "We've got these poisonous bugs, and you better give us one to the register, or we're going to set these bugs on you."
The Great Cicada Robbery Wave.
Cicada Robbery. And apparently it worked time and time again until they got with somebody who says,
"Wow,
damn cicada. It's not going to do anything."
That's fun.
Hello, everyone. This is Vic Hermanson. As you can tell, I'm not a physicist. But if you are, if you're a true physicist who can explain gravity and quantum mechanics and all other interesting things along those lines, give us a call or give us an email at feedback@paranormalrundown.com. We'll invite you on the show. You can show us what big dummies we really are. The Paranormal Rundown is a production of the Gang of Nerds, which includes myself, David Griffith, and Father Michael Birdsong. We are actively looking for a 4th member. All media clips are used under the protection of the Fair Use Doctrine. The music you heard comes from Lobo Loco, Smart Sound, or is simply in the public domain. So, until 2 weeks from today, this is Vic Hermanson, signing off for the Paranormal Rundown. It was a lot of fun. See you soon. And don't get caught in a gravitational well, no matter what you do.